The hype around GPT-5 has been, well, pretty much unavoidable, right? For months, we've heard whispers of this massive leap in AI, and now it's finally here. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all that marketing buzz and get to the ground truth. What's actually new, what really works, what doesn't, and of course, what's it going to cost you?
Okay, let's start with that claim because, wow, the official launch set the bar incredibly high. A PhD in your pocket? That is a bold, bold statement. So let's begin by looking at where GPT-5 actually delivers on that promise.
And you know what? There is good news, a lot of it actually. So we're going to start with the things that are just undeniable improvements. The speed, the quality of the writing, and some really nice user experience upgrades that you're going to feel right away.
The first two things you'll absolutely notice are speed and quality. The responses come back way faster, and the writing, it just feels more natural. It's less robotic than the older models. It's a subtle change, but it makes a huge difference.
This slide shows that leap in quality perfectly. A reviewer asked both models to write a little story about a bakery that's struggling. GPT-4o came up with a lavender honey brioche, which is fine, I guess. But GPT-5 came up with a walnut and honey bread inspired by family memories. See the difference? Reviewers said this version just had more humanity, more depth. It reads less like an AI trying to sound creative and more like an actual story.
And it's not just about creative writing. The day-to-day experience is just better. It's way less flattering. You know that tone where it tells you every single idea you have is brilliant? Yeah, that's mostly gone. It uses fewer emojis, it doesn't try to force every answer into a numbered list, and maybe the best part? It's all one model now. You don't have to switch between different modes for browsing or analyzing data. It just kind of thinks when it needs to. It's just simpler.
Now this little number, 2x, this represents a huge win, especially if you're a developer. The API cost has been basically cut in half compared to GPT-4o. And that is a massive deal, because it should open the floodgates for a whole new wave of more powerful and, importantly, more affordable AI apps for all of us.
So, those are some really major improvements. But for all the good news, we've got to have a reality check. And the area where the biggest, boldest claims were made was definitely in the world of coding.
So this was the message from OpenAI. They didn't just say it was an improvement, they claimed GPT-5 is the undisputed best coding model out there, period. They really position this as a complete game changer for anyone who writes code. So the big question is, does that massive claim actually hold up under real-world pressure? What happens when developers throw complex actual coding projects at it?
Oof. Yeah, that was the blunt verdict from one developer who documented his experience. He asked GPT-5 to create a 3D Rubik's Cube, and it sounds simple enough, but the model just struggled badly. It took 3 complete restarts and a whole bunch of manual corrections just to get something that barely worked. He basically said it was a frustrating mess of constant bug fixing.
And that wasn't just a one-off bad day. In another test, a developer built a browser extension pitting GPT-5 against a rival model. And yeah, GPT-5 got there in the end, but its code was messy, it was duplicated, and the big problem? It couldn't read the API documentation right, so the developer had to go in and fix it by hand. The other model? It produced cleaner, more robust code right from the start.
Okay, so we've seen the impressive upgrades, and we've seen some of the real-world limits. So the next logical question is, what's this actually going to cost me, and who gets to use it?
And honestly, this might be the biggest change of all. For the very first time, free users get access to the top-tier flagship model. Now, you get a limited number of tries with the full GPT-5 before it switches you to a smaller mini version, but just getting access at all is a huge step. For paid users, the Plus plan at around $20 a month gets you higher limits, and then there's a Pro plan for about $200 a month with the highest limits and access to the absolute top-of-the-line GPT-5 Pro.
Okay, we've seen the good, we've seen the bad, and we've seen the price tag. So when you put it all together and balance that initial hype against the reality, what's the final verdict on GPT-5?
After all the waiting, I think a lot of people were hoping for a true revolution, an AI that just changes everything overnight. But the consensus from pretty much everyone who's tested it is that this feels much more like a powerful evolution. It's a way better tool for sure, but it isn't a totally new paradigm.
So here's the bottom line.
For writing, for speed, and for just using it day to day, GPT-5 is a clear and significant upgrade. The experience is more natural, and making the best model free is a total game changer for accessibility. But when it comes to coding, it's powerful, yes, but it is not a magic bullet. It still needs an expert in the driver's seat to guide it and to fix its mistakes.
So the real takeaway here is this. Think of GPT-5 as an incredibly capable but still imperfect expert assistant. It's here to augment your skills, to speed up your work, but it is not here to replace your judgment. You still have to be the one to check the final work. It's an incredibly powerful tool. And now the real question is, how are you going to use it?